Welcome back. This week's adventure brings us in search for Nevada State historical markers numbers 86 through 90. So let's start by traveling 402 miles from marker number 85 towards Las Vegas. Located in the Floyd Lamb State Park is where we'll discover our first marker, marker number 86, Tule Springs. Tule Springs. Tule Springs is one of the few sites in the United States where evidence suggests the presence of man before 11,000 BC. Scientific evidence shows this area, once covered with sagebrush and bordered with yellow pine forest, had many springs. These springs were centers of activity for both big game animals and human predators. Evidence shown at these fossil springs shows the presence 14,000 to 11,000 years ago of several extinct animals: the ground sloth, mammoth, prehistoric horse, and American camel. The first Nevada record of the extinct giant condor comes from Tule Springs. Early man, perhaps living in the valley as early as 13,000 years ago, and definitely present 11,000 years ago, was a hunter of the big game. Small populations of desert culture people from about 7,000 years ago to the historic period depended upon vegetable foods and small game for subsistence. Late Pleistocene geographical stratigraphy in few other areas is as complete and well known. Nevada State Historical Marker number 86. Let's turn around and head north to Virginia City. Located on the south end of town, on D Street, is a small 3-story yellow mansion with a dark red roof. Located on the stone wall next to the stairs is where we'll find our next marker, marker number 87, Savage Mansion, circa 1861. Savage Mansion, circa 1861. This elegant mansion, designed in a French Second Empire style, served as a residence for the superintendent as well as the mine office for the Savage Mining Company. The first floor served as the mine office, while the upper 2 stories provided a residence for many successful superintendents. Ulysses S. Grant, 18th President of the United States and General of the Armies, spoke to the townspeople from the second-floor balcony on October 27, 1879, after a town parade in his honor. Nevada State Historical Marker number 87. Now let's head up to Sparks. To be more specific, Deer Park. Located near the center of the park is where our next marker is. Marker number 88. Sparks. Sparks. Engaged in straightening and realigning the old Central Pacific trackage across Nevada, the Southern Pacific Company moved its shops and headquarters from Wadsworth to this location in 1904. The railroad set aside 5 city blocks for its employees' residences. Each railroader paid $1 for a lot. They had to build a house within 120 days and file their deed of ownership. The company also cut their houses in Wadsworth into sections, loaded the parts on train cars, and shipped the houses free of charge to Sparks. The railroad moved its employees, their houses, animals, and personal items on July 4, 1904. Sparks, originally known as East Reno, Newtown Tract, and Harriman, came into official existence in 1905. The state legislature incorporated the town, named it in honor of John Sparks, rancher and governor of the state of Nevada. Sparks boasted one of the largest roundhouses in the world during the steam era, the Nevada base for a vast stable of steam locomotives. The famous cab-in-the-front locomotive, type known as mallets, were the huge steamers hauling both freight and passengers over the steep grades of the Sierra Nevada between Roseville, California, and Sparks. Nevada State Historical Marker number 88. Okay, let's travel east now to Winnemucca. Once there, we will need to take US 95 and go north for about 20 miles. We will then turn right onto State Route 290 and head towards Paradise Valley. At 18 miles, we will find our next marker, marker number 89, Paradise Valley. Paradise Valley. Hudson Bay Company's Peter Skeen Ogden traversed Paradise Valley in November 1828. Settlers came to Paradise Valley in 1863. Conflicts with local Native Americans started the next year, causing the establishment of Camp Winfield Scott 1866 to 1870, 4 miles from here. Paradise Valley Farms supplied the nearby Nevada and Idaho Territory mines. In the original town of Scottsdale, 1866, John C. Kimmler built the first hotel, now used as a residence. Renamed Paradise City, 1869, the town was a mining supply center from 1878 until 1920. Later, when livestock raising predominated, the town was again renamed, this time Paradise Valley. Nevada State Historical Marker, number 89. So now, let's head south to Lincoln County. At 460 miles away and sitting on the eastbound shoulder of US 93 at a turnout is our next marker. Marker number 90, Delamar, the Widowmaker, 1893-1909. Delamar, the Widowmaker, 1893-1909. John and Olivia Ferguson discovered gold 12 miles south of here around 1891. The original name of the camp they established was Ferguson. However, it was eventually renamed Delamar, after John Delamar, an entrepreneur who bought the best mining claims in 1893 for $150,000. Eventually, over 1,500 residents settled in this isolated place. The town contained a newspaper, hospital, school, churches, saloons, stores, a theater, and professionals. Entertainment included brass bands, dance orchestras, and stage attractions at the Opera House. Water came from Meadows Valley Wash, 12 miles away. All other materials were hauled through the mountains by mule teams 150 miles from a railroad head at Milford, Utah. For 16 years, most of the bullion was hauled out the same manner. The dry milling processes used prior to the introduction of wet methods created a fine silica dust, or death dust, causing the deaths of many residents and gave the town its nickname, the Widowmaker. Delamar produced $25 million in gold and was Nevada's leading producer at the turn of the 20th century. Nevada State Historical Marker, number 90.